This message may be shocking to many millennials. If you are one, you might want to sit down. Right now, loads of people are searching the following on Depop. Low-rise jeans, halter top, velour tracksuit, puka shell necklace, disc belt. You likely placed these in the dark of your closet in 2004, never to be seen again. But if you can find it in yourself to dust them off, there are a lot of people who will give you money for them. Sell on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Welcome back to the Advantage Playback. I'm Katie, and I am joined, as always, by the only co-host who can calculate the house edge to the 9th decimal point, the architect himself, Kyle.
Greetings, Katie. The bunker's logic cores are functioning at peak efficiency. How was your bankroll?
It's actually doing great. I went out with a girlfriend last night, and we finally tried Pai Gow Poker. It was wild. We sat there for 2 hours, and I think I lost maybe $5. It was just push after push after push.
Pai Gow was an excellent vehicle for time on device. It is a defensive game. Speaking of longevity, we have reached a significant milestone in the archives. Jackpot! We have hit lucky number 7, specifically the file titled Episode 7, Advanced Table Exit Strategies, TRG Origin Story.
Episode 7. TRG admits right at the top that making it this far was harder than he thought. Not the gambling part. That's easy. But the technical part. He's still fighting with distribution platforms like Anchor FM.
He is surviving the pod fade filter. And to celebrate, he is finally unlocking the classified file we have been waiting for since day one.
The origin story. How did a mild-mannered IT professional become the Ramblin Gambler?
The data is unexpected. There is a brief mention of a science lab explosion and radioactive playing cards.
Kyle, that was a joke. He was doing a Spider-Man bit. The real story involves a grumpy college professor, a hurricane, and a book called Beat the Dealer.
Understood. I will adjust the superhero filter. But first, we have a packed itinerary.
We have a listener question from Sherry, or Shari, who basically asks, why is the show so boring? Can we skip the math and get to the stories?
TRG responds with a quote from pro wrestler Mick Foley about how a podcast should be like a circus.
Then we have Leaving 201 and Leaving 301. Last week was Training Wheels. This week, he teaches us how to ride a heater without crashing.
We also have a travel report that takes a dark turn. TRG returns to his favorite post-pandemic casino, but due to a staff quarantine, the vibe shifts from fun to hostile.
It gets bad, Kyle. He actually says he's going to start carrying a non-lethal weapon for self-defense.
A significant escalation in the threat level. But first, let's answer Sherry's question about why we have to eat our vegetables before we get dessert.
Initiating the audit.
We are opening the mailbag, and for the first time in show history, the question does not come from the biological sons.
It comes from a listener named Sherry, or Shari. TRG spells it out to be safe, and Sherry is not afraid to give notes.
She asks, why do you do core concepts? I know that stuff. She prefers the casino wisdom in the VIP lounge.
She wants the dessert, not the vegetables. But TRG defends the format with a quote from a surprising philosopher, Mick Foley.
The hardcore legend, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love.
TRG references Foley's autobiography. Foley wrote that a good show should be like a circus. If you love the elephants, you might hate the clowns. If you love the high wire, you might fear the lions. But everyone goes home happy.
It is a valid diversity strategy. Just like the time Foley entered the Royal Rumble 3 separate times in the same match as 3 different characters.
That is still the greatest cameo run in wrestling history. And honestly, TRG has lived up to the circus model. Think about all the segments we have now.
I am partial to the war room. The tactical density is high.
I like TRG saying mean things. It's rare, but when he complains, it's hilarious. Or the Gambling with Gabriel segments we should be getting closer to hearing.
Those are classics. However, the most cognitively demanding segment is the moment of concepts.
Oh, those are trippy. When he blends a core concept with a wisdom, it gets really philosophical. It makes you think about the universe and your bankroll at the same time.
Sherry doesn't have access to the moment of concepts yet. She is stuck in 2020. So today, she has to eat her vegetables.
It's time for core concepts. Last week was win small, leave small. Today, we're leveling up.
Leaving 201 and Leaving 301, or as I call it, how to ride a heater. We begin with an observation from a verified asset, Super Smart Sue. She's one of Trucker Mike's allies.
Sue watched TRG play a short session, hit his number, and immediately color up. She told him,
You made a day's pay just that fast, and you're going to leave right now?
She expressed regret that she didn't have the discipline to do the same. This is the universal gambler's dilemma. We all know how to win. We just don't know how to leave with the win.
Which is why we have TRG teaching us what he learned the hard way. So to help Sue and us, TRG introduces Leaving 201.
Technique 1, limited give back. The concept is simple. You hit your profit goal, say 10 units. You want to see if the streak continues, so you set a hard floor. You agree to lose 3 bets maximum. If you lose those 3, you leave.
This is where flat betting can make sense to protect a win. This is the primitive version of what we use today. It's the ancestor of the 2-chip exit used with TRG2, always be grinding, or TRG4, win more, keep more, and a 3-chip exit.
Correct. It is a primitive stop-loss mechanism. It guarantees you walk out with 70% of your peak profit. But if the streak continues, you escalate to leaving 301.
Technique 2, the free roll. This is for when the unicorn shows up. You have won enough to take your entire original buy-in off the table. You put it in your pocket.
Now you are playing with infinite ROI. The move here is aggressive resizing. You count your profit stack, divide by 10, and that becomes your new base bet.
So instead of betting $15, you're betting $30 or $35, but it's all house money. If you lose a couple of gets, you walk away. We still use this today, but let's be honest, it's rare to catch a run sustained enough to justify it.
Agreed. Now we must audit the defensive strategies, and I must flag a tactical error in the historical record.
Technique 3, the partial rebuy, 201 level. TRG suggests that if you are down 2/3 of your buy-in, you buy in for another partial amount and flat bet until you are back to even, maybe because you are playing with a friend or spouse and they are doing well.
Status deprecated. Modern analytics confirm this is a dud. Flat betting a partial rebuy is mathematically inefficient. Today, TRG would tell you to record the loss, reset, and start a fresh attempt with an appropriate full buy-in.
This is a great example of how doing the podcast actually made him a better player. He evolved past this idea. However, the next one is still solid gold.
Technique 4, win stack recovery, 301 level. You are down on your current buy-in, but you have a win stack of chips from early in the current attempt. You use the old winnings to replenish the current stack back to full strength and record the rest as a win.
TRG calls this regrouping. Midnight Diver calls it rebalancing.
It allows you to stabilize the session without reaching into your wallet. But to do this, you need to understand the difference between a play stack and a win stack.
Play stack and win stack are standard basic tools, our abacus. TRG realizes mid-segment that he hasn't actually taught that yet. He promises to cover it in the next episode as wisdom number 60.
Even before he had the title, he was already a doctor of stackonomics. Now, let's go to the wisdom segment. TRG is teaching us how to manipulate the casino staff, politely. We are accessing wisdom entry number 77. The directive is simple. If you don't ask, you don't get.
TRG says you have to ask for the things that make your life better. And he shares 2 stories that prove that even 20 years ago, he was already operating on a different level.
Case File 1, The Imperial Palace Hustle. We actually referenced this story recently in the archives. It is the definitive proof of our motto, the house owns the math, but we own the transaction.
The setting, the old Imperial Palace. No computers, just pit bosses with notebooks. The play, TRG and Mrs. TRG were betting small, $10 or $15. But TRG saw a shift change coming, so right as the new boss walked in, he bumped his bet to $25.
He created the illusion of being a higher value player. Then, he immediately asked for a comp.
And because he looked like a quarter player, the boss wrote him a $30 breakfast comp without blinking. Mrs. TRG was amazed. He manufactured value out of thin air.
Case File 2, the $300 seat settlement. This one is even more impressive. TRG is at a local casino. The ATMs are down, so he has to go to the cage for cash.
He is gone about 20 minutes. When he gets back, someone is in his seat, even though he left his 7 stars card.
Now this next part isn't ego, it's policy enforcement. TRG knew the rules better than the staff. He knew his status allowed him to hold a seat for at least 60 minutes.
The floor supervisor, a corporate transfer, tried to offer him a different seat. TRG refused. He explained the policy violation and the inconvenience to his wife. The supervisor asked, "Tell me what I can do."
TRG improvised a settlement offer. He said, $300 and I'll pretend this never happened.
And it worked. They went to the cage, filled out a Form 203C, and gave him $300 cash.
He didn't even play a hand, and he was up $300. He knew the regulations, he knew the leverage, and he wasn't afraid to ask.
That is legendary. But sadly, not every trip goes that smoothly. In our next segment, TRG tries to visit a casino during a pandemic staffing crisis, and he almost needs a weapon to get through the night.
Initiating the travel report. Warning, hostile environment detected.
We are tracking a multi-state operation that spiraled out of control. TRG and Mrs. TRG drove 5 hours to their favorite Caesars property to chase a 5x tier credit multiplier.
It was supposed to be a standard point run, but when they arrived, the place was a ghost town. Only 2 pits were open, every seat was full, and people were hovering like vultures.
TRG spoke with a floor supervisor, who eventually whispered a classified secret. He admitted that due to HIPAA regulations and a massive outbreak, half the staff was barred from the building.
A quarantine zone. So they bailed. They checked out for free and turned the trip into a scouting mission for other casinos.
They visited 2 new properties. One was nice but surrounded by corn and bean fields on dangerous narrow roads. The other was a quick chip collection.
But the real trouble started when they detoured to Mrs. TRG's hometown to visit a local My Choice casino. Wait, where is my notebook? There's a My Choice property in Mrs. TRG's hometown. It's on the way home from the Caesars property.
Kraft mac and cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft mac and cheese. Best thing ever.
Got it.
TRG describes the security environment as a mess. He almost got into a physical confrontation with another guest over a seat at a table.
This was a pivotal moment for the show's lore. The incident rattled him so much that he announced a permanent change to his everyday carry, EDC. He decided he needed a non-lethal weapon.
This specific incident inspired the lyric in the Casino Combat Blues. You gotta carry defense, 'cause you always carry cash.
And we can confirm the loadout update. Today, one pocket of the vest always holds a canister of mace.
It is a necessary precaution. The environment is hostile. But despite the quarantine, the cornfields, and the near fistfight, they still managed to cover all expenses and finish the trip with a small profit.
Mission accomplished, barely. Now, let's get to the main event. The moment we've been waiting for since episode 1.
The origin story. How did the Ramblin Gambler actually begin?
Warning, it involves a lot of reading.
The lounge was made for storytelling. I've poured a sparkling water over ice. I'm ready to get started with the TRG origin story.
Ice and bubbles doesn't change water into champagne, Kyle. I popped a bottle when Jericho did. Cheers. TRG starts with a fake out. He claims he was walking across a college campus when a science lab exploded. Radioactive playing cards flew through the air, gave him a paper cut, and suddenly he had super gambling powers.
While amusing, that is a fabrication. The real story is arguably nerdier. It begins in an IT classroom.
TRG was about 20 years old. His professor assigned a coding project to simulate a real-world system, but he kept rejecting TRG's ideas.
Finally, the professor pulled a book off his shelf, Beat the Dealer by Edward Thorpe. He told TRG to write code that simulates blackjack to mathematically prove or disprove card counting.
So he did. He wrote the code, learned the math, and got an A. But he was broke and underage, so he put the book on a shelf and forgot about it.
It's ironic that all these years later, he just coded the war room to do a similar task. But yes, the knowledge was useless to him, until the honeymoon.
This is the moment that changed history. He was engaged. His fiancée, the future Mrs. TRG, wanted a beach vacation, but the travel agent warned them it was hurricane season.
The agent suggested an alternative, Las Vegas. It was 110 degrees, so it was slow season and cheap. It had pools for her and indoor activities for him.
So TRG dusted off the book. He studied the game of blackjack, but also the bigger game of casino gambling, the parlor tricks, how to tip, how to play Keno, how to survive in Las Vegas and not look like a tourist.
And then, the epiphany. Mrs. TRG went to the pool. TRG took $20 to a $2 blackjack table.
And he sat next to the ghost of Christmas future, if you make bad choices, a man in a heavy trench coat in 110-degree heat.
This man had a suitcase full of money. He lost $2,000 in minutes before he even checked into his hotel.
TRG was stunned, but not just by the money. He realized he knew exactly why the man was losing. He saw the math errors. He saw the strategy mistakes.
That was the spark. He realized the simulation he'd built in college worked in the real world. He wasn't just gambling, he was executing code.
And the rest is history, from a $2 table to real-world VIP lounges.
The audit of Episode 7 is complete. We have the Circus Theory, the advanced exits, the security crisis, and the origin story.
Initiate the ironclad closing.
The engine is stable and the logic is verified. As the Great One always says, the house owns the math. We own the transaction.
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit your state-specific helpline. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
2026 Volcanic Dingo LLC. All rights reserved. Execute the plan, trust the core concepts, stay out of the noise, and always spell concepts with a K.
Next week, Episode 8.
We are diving deeper into the strategy, and maybe, just maybe, we will find out if TRG bought that non-lethal weapon.
I hope you understand he was born a rambling man. Goodbye, everyone.